If you own property in any of these UK cities right now, economists are tracking a collapse they have not announced publicly. Warning signs are already flashing red. Councils are running out of money. Businesses are closing permanently. Property values are quietly eroding, while owners look the other way. Average projected losses of £30,000 to £60,000 within 18 months. We have identified 5 specific UK cities set to crash hardest when the 2026 recession hits. Here is what you need to know before it is too late. Nottingham is the warning flare for every property owner in the UK. On 29 November 2023, the City Council issued a Section 114 notice, an official admission of bankruptcy that freezes all non-essential spending. This isn't some distant technicality. When a council collapses, the shockwaves hit your street, your tenants, your home's value. Nottingham's books show £2.3 billion in liabilities, an impossible mountain of debt for a city its size. The council's long-term debts and pension deficits now dwarf its usable reserves, leaving almost nothing to shield against the next financial blow. Immediately after the notice, Nottingham's property market went into free fall. The city's house price index plunged 12% year on year, the sharpest drop in any major UK city. That's not a blip. That's tens of thousands wiped from the average home before the next recession even begins. The so-called affordable entry point is a trap. Buyers are stepping into a market already in retreat. The high street tells the rest of the story. Over 24% of shopfronts now stand empty across the city centre. Business closures are up 34% compared with the national average, with retail and hospitality gutted. Each shuttered business means fewer jobs, less foot traffic, and a deeper spiral. Unemployment has climbed to 6.2%, well above the UK average, and long-term joblessness is rising fast. This is what a property crash looks like before the headlines. Council bankruptcy, collapsing prices, boarded up shops, rising unemployment, all feeding off each other. If you own or are considering buying in Nottingham, the losses are not hypothetical. They are already happening. The rest of the country is watching. Will you? Birmingham is living on a financial fault line. The city's £760 million equal pay liability is not just a technical accounting problem. It is a fiscal earthquake that has already sent cracks through every part of the local economy. Council leaders have been forced to choose between paying historic legal bills and funding basic public services. The result is a cumulative 21% council tax hike, the steepest in decades, landing directly on homeowners and landlords. That's not a rounding error. It's hundreds of pounds extra every single year just to keep the lights on. But the damage doesn't stop at your doorstep. When the government pulled the plug on HS2's northern extension, Birmingham lost £2 billion in future investment overnight. Projects that were supposed to transform the city, new stations, offices and retail space, were frozen or cancelled. The council's own capital programme shrank by nearly half, with major regeneration plans shelved indefinitely. The message to developers and employers was clear: Birmingham is no longer a safe bet. Big business got the memo. Since 2022, at least 1,200 skilled jobs have vanished as firms like BT, HSBC and Jaguar Land Rover's design hub shifted operations to Manchester and London. Each departure drains the city's talent pool and strips millions from the business rates base. Commercial property values have already dropped 7% as demand evaporates. Meanwhile, residential prices have flatlined. Investors who thought they were buying into a stable, affordable market are now sitting on assets that could lose £30,000 to £48,000 in the next 18 months. This is how a single legal liability unravels a city. Birmingham hasn't declared bankruptcy yet, but the warning signs are everywhere. Ignore them, and the losses will land in your lap. Blackpool's glossy brochures promise you affordable seaside property and steady rental yields. But peel back the surface and the numbers tell a different story. Since 2019, the town has lost £340 million in visitor spend. This isn't a blip. It's a collapse in the tourism lifeblood that once kept every hotel, cafe and corner shop afloat. The third-generation owners of the Seaside Lodge watched their occupancy plunge by 70% since 2020. 10 staff were laid off. Part of the building was sold just to cover debts. Their story isn't unique. Nearly 1 in 3 high street units now stands empty, 31% vacancy, the worst in England. The jobs that remain are precarious. 16% of Blackpool's workforce is stuck on 0-hour contracts, and 38% of all jobs are seasonal. When the tourists vanish, so does your income. That's why 9.2% of working-age residents now claim benefits, nearly double the national average. Young people are voting with their feet. Over 4,500 residents aged 18 to 35 have left in just 2 years, draining the town's future and shrinking the council tax base. Property looks cheap at £130,000 on average, but prices have already dropped 7% year on year. What looks like a bargain is actually a warning. Behind every for sale sign lies a market built on sand, not stone. The council's own finance committee has flagged a high risk of financial distress. No major employer has invested in Blackpool for nearly a decade. If you think you're buying into stability, you are buying into a slow-motion crash. The numbers are screaming. Are you listening? Middlesbrough stands as a warning to anyone still clinging to the idea that cheap property means safe investment. The lights went out at Thornaby's Steelworks in 2022, erasing 2,500 jobs overnight. Cleveland Steel followed soon after, with another 800 jobs lost. These were not just numbers, they were the backbone of the town's economy, and their loss triggered a chain reaction you cannot afford to ignore. Unemployment has surged to 7.8%, one of the highest rates in England. For those still working, the outlook is just as grim. Average wages in Middlesbrough now lag 22% behind the UK median. The town centre tells the rest of the story. More than 30% of retail space now sits empty, with anchor stores like Tesco Extra and Marks & Spencer shutting their doors for good. Every closure means fewer jobs, less foot traffic, and even more empty units. House prices have responded the only way they can, down. The average home is now worth £155,000, a 9% drop in just 1 year. That is not a market correction. That is a direct response to a shrinking population, with 2.3% of residents leaving in the past 3 years. The supply of unsold homes grows every month, and there is no new investment coming in to soak up the excess. Councils cannot fill the gap. New capital projects have collapsed to just £2 million for the period from 2024 to 2026, a 93% fall from the previous cycle. The wage gap, the exodus, the boarded up shops, they all feed off each other, accelerating the decline. Ignore these numbers and you risk holding an asset that could lose another £30,000 to £55,000 before the next recession even lands. The warning signs are not subtle, they are everywhere you look. Coventry's finances are under strain. The council faces a £165 million pension gap, draining resources and forcing borrowing up to £450 million. Credit downgrades have followed, and every new budget is tighter than the last. The city's industrial base is eroding. Jaguar Land Rover and Stellantis have cut 2,000 jobs, accelerating a talent drain that is hard to reverse. For line workers like Aisha Patel, the £8,000 redundancy payout barely bridged the gap before she left for cheaper towns. Multiply that story across the city, and Coventry's skilled workforce is thinning out, leaving fewer buyers and less demand for rentals. Retail vacancy in Broadgate has hit 28%, and house prices have slipped 4.5% over the past year. That is the first real drop since 2016. Only 38% of graduates now stay after university. Non-essential capital projects are on hold until the pension deficit is addressed. The warning signs are clear: liabilities mounting, jobs disappearing, and confidence quietly draining away. Every warning light is flashing the same message across these 5 cities. The crash isn't a local accident, it is a chain reaction, set off by structural forces that do not wait for headlines. Massive council debt is the first domino. When so much revenue is swallowed by interest payments, there is nothing left for schools, roads, or basic upkeep. High street vacancy follows, with the boarded-up shops draining life from city centres and gutting business rates. Population flight accelerates the spiral as young families and skilled workers leave, shrinking the council tax base and flooding the market with empty homes. Employers see the writing on the wall and pull out, taking jobs, investment, and confidence with them. The best talent is siphoned off to cities with prospects, leaving behind a skills vacuum that no short-term fix can fill. Even before a recession hits, property values in these markets are already slipping 8 to 15% down, wiping tens of thousands off your equity. In a downturn, every one of these drivers accelerates at once. The odds of this contagion spreading to neighbouring councils sit at 15%, high enough to turn a local crisis into a national one. This is why these 5 cities will crash first. Ignore the signs, and you are not just risking your own investment, you are stepping into the heart of a systemic collapse. Right now, the numbers don't lie. Councils are going bankrupt, debts are soaring, and property values are nosediving. If you hold assets in these cities, delay could mean losing £60,000 before anyone admits the crash is here. In this market, denial is not a strategy, it is financial self-destruction. What will you do before the window closes?